Okay, in this video I want to introduce you guys to my Surface Pro and really get you an idea of how I use my Surface Pro in combination with Microsoft OneNote. So it's going to be kind of a dual advertisement for both, even though I'm not affiliated with Microsoft. But I'm really excited about it. So I am a mathematics graduate student, and I can do a lot of annotation of research papers that I need to read. I can read ebooks on this device, and I can take all sorts of notes in Microsoft OneNote. So I want to show you really all of the things that you can do with Microsoft OneNote, and then maybe talk about why the Surface Pro in particular is a great device to use in conjunction with Microsoft OneNote. But before I do, some quick remarks. First of all, the screen recording software I'm using is BB Express. It's a pretty good one, but it is also maybe a little bit of a lag. It introduces a little bit of a lag. So if you see any lag when I'm writing or doing anything, like right now maybe you see a tiny bit of the lag in the video. I don't see any lag at all when I'm writing on screen, and you won't either. So that's coming from the recording software. It's not coming from the Surface Pro itself. Okay, so let's open up Microsoft OneNote and let's take a look. So when either you can see my pen, maybe right over there. If you see what's going on over here, there's a little dot that shows you where the pen is on the screen. And for the sliding and for the zooming, I'm going to be using my fingers. So it's very comfortable to use with both the pen and with the touch capabilities. So one nice thing you can do about with Microsoft OneNote, I have my little checklist here, is that you can open up multiple window views for multitasking. So let's do that right now. So let's see, we go here, let's open up another window here, and let me use my finger to just kind of bring those over there in these things. Alright, so let's keep track of what's going on. So we talked about multiple window views. You can go into full page view. So let me increase this one again. I use this when I'm recording videos, not only this video, but also videos for my students, little math explanations. I am a TA, so and they seem to like that. So that's something you can do, very effective if you are a teacher. So you can put it into full page view. There's no limit up or down. I can keep going as far down as I want. There's going to be no limit to that, and there's also no limit at all going off to the right. So this is like a sheet of paper, but it's a sheet of paper that you can make as big as you want, and you can make as many new pages as you want by clicking add page here. So there's no problem there. So there's no limit up or down. What else? You can use ruled versus graph versus blank paper. So let me add a new page here and show you, there's many different kinds of paper you can use. You have blank paper, as we've seen. You also have many different versions of ruled paper. As you can see, there are many different sizes of it, whichever one suits your need most. And you also have this kind of graph paper, these grid lines of varying sizes as well. Let me put that back here. And what you'll notice is that even though I've opened it up in two windows, it automatically syncs. So that's one of the great things about Microsoft OneNote. It's very easy to sync on the device, between devices, using SkyDrive or anything. It doesn't show up on this list. There are different pen sizes and colors. Alright, so let's actually let's take a look at all of that. So let me open this up again. So you go to the draw menu here, and there's a whole host of them right here. So let me just open up green, and hi, this is my Surface Pro. This is, erase that. This is my Surface Pro. And you may be getting a lag in the video, but again, that's coming from the recording software, not from here. It's perfectly smooth writing for me. And that's green. We can also do a little bit more refined, smaller print. Hi, this is my Surface Pro, and you get the idea. So you can also kind of zoom in if it's easier to write that way. Surface Pro, like that. And what you'll notice right away is that the handwriting is really amazing. It's the first thing I noticed about this device, and it's the first thing anybody else notices about this device, everyone else that I've shown at least. And it has green, it has red, it has blue. They're all very nice colors. It's very natural. I mean, writing is just as natural as writing with pen on paper. You get the exact kind of handwriting you use, and it's not just any pen either. It feels like you have one of those really great gel ink pens or something like that that just makes your writing feel so much better. So I really am impressed with OneNote using the Surface Pro pen. And you have gray and all the rest, and you also have all of these different colored highlighters. It's very convenient when you're annotating PDFs and other things to be able to highlight what's going on. And if you don't like these options, there are plenty more down here. These are all of the other kind of built-in pens and highlighters. And if none of these suits your need, you can of course go and customize your own pen or highlighter of whatever size, whatever color you want right there. Okay, so that takes care of the pen sizes, highlighters, and the custom pens. Easy erase. So we've already seen this. There are 3 different options, or actually 4 different options apparently, for the eraser. There's the small, medium, and large eraser, and then there's the stroke eraser. I prefer the stroke eraser. So all you have to do is flip your Surface Pro pen over, and there's an eraser on the back that literally works as an eraser. It just goes to whichever stroke you've done last, and it erases that way. Or you can use a kind of more of a traditional eraser. There's the large eraser here, where it's just kind of erases things the way you would in a traditional paint program or something like that. Let me switch back to my stroke eraser because I prefer it. What else do we have here? So easy erase. You've seen me doing all of this zooming and sliding. It's very easy. I'm doing it with my fingers. It's very natural, and there's really no lag on the actual device. Maybe it's showing up in the recording because of the recording software, but again, there's basic shapes and coordinate axes. And this is really helpful, you know. So here's an example of I've selected the highlighter, so it gave me a weird large rectangle with that. But if you just have a normal pen, it's very easy to draw rectangles and circles, and the way that it snaps to grid in this, it makes it real easy to draw perfect circles too, of any color that you want. You also have different kind of coordinate axes and other shapes. You even have like these 3-dimensional ones, which is very nice if you do a lot of graphing or having to draw pictures for whatever students or whomever else. Then there's tables, to-do lists, and other tags. So let's take a look at that. So you want to start a to-do list. Of course, we have a to-do list right here, so you already see an example. It's just as easy as clicking that to-do button. Clicking it and clicking it off makes it into a check, or you can put an important one, or you have a host of other little tags that you can use if you want to. I don't really use it that often, to be honest with you. Let me show you some of the on-screen keyboard too, so that we can see how it works. So this is a Surface Pro, and this is sort of like an on-screen keyboard that works like that. And if you don't like this writing it out version, then there are 2 other options you can use. You can use a weird kind of keyboard where I presume this is something you're supposed to use with your thumbs if you're holding it in your hands. I don't really use it that often. I'm usually resting on some sort of surface. And then there's kind of more of a traditional QWERTY keyboard in that way. So that's just what the on-screen keyboard looks like. So there's to-do lists, other tags. There's also tables. I mean, you can easily make a table here. You go Insert and make a table of kind of whatever size you want, like there, and you get a little table there. So that might be useful for you, depending on what you're doing. There's templates, and let me actually take this opportunity to show you some of my own other notebooks here. You have many different notebooks. We're in Quick Notes right now. Let me go over to my, let's say, one of these papers here, and we'll go over to this. So this is a little template that I have. It's very easy to make these templates. You go to Insert, and you have this Page Templates area here. So you can just click it and insert any kind of page template you want, or you can arrange, you can take whatever page you have and you can turn it into a template. so that if you make one page that you have to make a million times over, you can just kind of almost like copy and paste, and every time you have to do it. So I have a little thing for every research paper that I read. I make a little outline of it, sections, titles, table of contents, and so on. So that's nice too. And let me actually show a different one here. If I have it, no. Let's see, which one was that? I know how to get there. We just go, and this will also allow me to illustrate something else. So I have some papers here. You can actually set up links to other pages in Microsoft OneNote. So that's very nice. So let's take another look at the template. Notice it's exactly the same. I've added my own things. It's different for each different paper that I make. And you can make audio recordings, so you can listen to that.
The natural comparison to make is between
so it's great for audio notes. Oh, let me shut up. It's great for audio notes. It's very nice. You want to say something instead of writing something. That's great. Also, using a program technically outside of OneNote, you can set up a link to, well, that's one nice thing. You can set up links to things outside of OneNote. So I have this little flowchart diagram here, and it's nice. It's useful for kind of mapping out theorems and papers and so on. So that's also something nice you can do here. If you can't read that, it's there. You can always zoom. Remember, that's always something very helpful. It's always a possibility. Let me go back to my checklist. We talked about the templates now. We also talked about audio notes. There's also autosave. So let me be very clear here. Every time you do something, when you exit out of Microsoft OneNote, so let's do that. We'll exit out of Microsoft OneNote and we'll enter back into it. We didn't save or anything, but OneNote is great because it comes with automatic saving. So that's very useful. Notice we're right back where we started with all that stuff there. So you don't have to ever worry about losing track of what you have. That is an amazing quality in my opinion. You can also input images from the internet. So let's take a look at my class notes, where I think I have some version of that. So it's really easy to take notes in class, by the way. It's not hard to add all of these you're just in draw to add all of these highlighter marks, switch between different pen colors, make drawings freehand when you want them to, add these lines, circles, graphs whenever you want to. It's so easy. You can do it in class. You will never lose track of the professor. Professor can't possibly write on the board as quickly as you can write on this, and it is really that easy, and there's absolutely no problem with that. So then there is, let's see if we have an example somewhere here. I'm pretty sure at some point I put some image from the internet here. I mean, it works in exactly the way that you would imagine it should, so there's not really very much to show here. But I'll find it eventually. It's one of these days. 15. I'm pretty sure it's at the end too. There we go. There's an example of an internet image. Now, I'm not connected to the internet on this device right now. I don't have wireless internet in my apartment. But notice that when you copy something from the internet, it has a link on the bottom. So you can just click that and it will take you to, in this case, the Wikipedia page that I got this image from. Also, like I said, it's easy to set up links and stuff, and I am using a screen recording software here, but I also find that this is very useful for when you're taking certain notes. Sometimes, especially when you're doing mathematics, it's easier to kind of show the derivation and say it out loud than it is to just write it all down.
Describe the cube of a resolution.
So I'll mute that. I don't want to hear myself speaking. Again, the quality of it and the speed at which it's going may be a little bit slower for you on this video because I am recording on on-screen recorder. It's perfectly smooth, naturally running right now in person with the Surface Pro. So if you feel like this video is going a little slow, or it's choppy, or it's hopping back and forth, that's because I'm recording and showing a video inside of the recording. It's the recording software's problem because it's free, kind of cheap version of it. It's not the problem of the Surface Pro. So let's go back to Quick Notes for a moment. So yeah, it's great. I also find it nice to link between different days. You know, you often have to reference things you did previously in the semester. You can link between the various notes there. So you can input images here. I've already shown you plenty of examples of linking between pages and linking to videos, and I did show you linking to flowcharts. And so you can also link to all sorts of other things. So you can put ebooks here. So we can, let's say, link to a certain ebook here. There you go. There's Hatcher's Classic Text. It's very nice in PDF format. It also plays all the other formats. This is a full-fledged laptop, right? So you can do anything on it you can do with a laptop. So here we have this deja vu. Let me actually show you how you would make a link in practice. You would just right-click on something, go to link, and then you would search for it here, or you could pick it out from there. So here, let's link to the deja vu file here. Okay, now we have a brand new link to a different file. So let's open it up, and there you go. There's the link to the deja vu version of the same book. So you can put it in portrait mode for reading. It does something a little bit weird with the recording device, but it looks very natural in portrait mode, and it feels natural. It's kind of heavy for a tablet, but it's not very heavy at all. And if you're using maybe two hands, or if you're holding it with one hand in portrait mode, it's not a big deal. It's very nice and easy to use. And it's very comfortable for reading. I think the screen width in portrait mode is just large enough that you can do e-reading without a problem, and you've seen it how it handles that in landscape mode as well. You can import Word and Excel documents. Let me show you some of my personal notes. I love, by the way, how you can kind of organize it, talks, lots of different pages. You have these tabs, and you have these tab groups that you can kind of go hop between, do whatever you want, organize your thoughts. If you don't like where a page is, then you can always easily move it. You just right-click here, and you can go move or copy, and you can either move it or copy it anywhere else in any of these open notebooks. So it's very easy not only to organize it in the first place using pages, tabs, tab groups, and subpages. You can also use subpages, but it's easy to reorganize them too. So then you have my to-do list here now. I'm sure I was coming into here to show you something. Let's hope that I remember what it is. Ah yes, Word and Excel documents. There we go. So let's find it. It would be right here, I think. So this is something I had made on my laptop previously, just a standard Word document. Nothing fancy here, just showing you that you can in fact import Word and Excel documents. And you've already seen some of these various kind of research papers that I'm reading. And these are PDFs that you just kind of print to page. So it's very nice. It maybe takes just a second for it to get the resolution right, but then it's very nice to kind of zoom in and just annotate freely. Let me actually switch to a thinner pen I like to use. And again, any lag you may or may not be seeing is not coming from the Surface Pro, it's coming from the recording software, and that is a problem. So we can import that, we can import PDFs, and you can annotate. You can take screen clippings, and that's very nice. You just go Insert, click Screen Clipping, and then you can clip whatever kind of image you want from the screen. So there you go. That's not really sure what I would do with that particular image, but I have used screen clippings to great effect in other ways. So for example, my personal notes here. I have, I'm sure somewhere here, yeah, there you go. So there's, if you have any kind of ebook or something like that, you can take screen clippings. I like to make kind of theorem lists and stuff like that, so that I can kind of more organize it and just do a dry read and stuff. So I find use for screen clippings. It's very nice. Ink to text and ink to math. Now this is very interesting. So let's get more real estate over here. Go over to draw. So if you write directly in OneNote, it can take that ink and it can convert it to text. So if you write Surface Pro, then you can just lasso select it, ink to text, and it just recognizes that as Surface Pro and includes it right in there. It also works with math. So if you're integrating from A to B, dx or something like that, the hardest integral in the world, you can convert it to mathematics. So look, right there, you insert it, and it converts it to math nice and pretty there too. Also, speaking of that, you can do some really interesting things. Here's something really fun. You can do something like, let's say y equals x squared. Something real easy so that you can see it. Let's first convert that to math. Okay, now let's click that, and if you have the add-on, the Microsoft Mathematics add-on, then what you can do is you can go to the design tools here and you can graph it. So let's graph it right now. We can plot it in 2D. So there you go. You have this nice little graph of what it looks like, very easy, and you can even insert that right into your Microsoft OneNote, just like that. Or do something maybe a little bit interesting, a little bit more interesting. Say z equals x squared plus y squared. Let's ink to math that. Insert that, and oh, sorry about that. And let's go graph that in 3 dimensions. So now this is going perfectly smooth, but I'm almost certain that in the recording software, this is going to seem very choppy movement. But to me, it's perfectly smooth. I'm using my finger to kind of rotate and glide that around. I can glide it to the angle I want, and I can also insert that. So that's very nice. You can also, let me click that equation again. You can also do things like computationally. You can solve for equations, solve for different variables. If you give it a function, it can differentiate, integrate, and there's all sorts of nice things you can do with Microsoft Mathematics. So that's really great here. So we saw ink to text, math, and Microsoft Math. And I also mentioned already how organizing and reorganizing, moving and copying pages around is easy, and with templates, that's also incredibly easy and useful too. Here's another amazing thing about it, one of the most amazing things. It searches text and handwritten notes. So if you're searching for anything, so let's say you want to search for the word, I don't know, manifold here. That's something that I'm going to have all over the place. So as you can see, it instantaneously searches through what must be like 100 pages or more that use this word all throughout these different papers and so on. But actually, let me find something that I hand wrote. When I say hand wrote, I mean with the pen. Let's find out anything I hand wrote. There we go. So here are some things I hand wrote. Real numbers, sequences, and things like that. So let's type the word sequences in there. And not only will it find everything in any PDF that I've done or any other place that I've typed it in, but it will also find absolutely every time I wrote it, even in the handwritten case. So let's see. Math lists, class notes, Khobanov homology, things like that. See, it caught the word sequence even in my own handwritten notes. So I think that's absolutely an amazing aspect of Microsoft OneNote. And then finally, at the very end, if you have a particular page or notebook or anything that you want to maybe save as a PDF or something like that, it couldn't be easier. You just go here and you'd export whichever one, page, section, or notebook, to any of these other formats, in particular PDF, which is very, very nice in my opinion. So that's something that I like tremendously. So that covers pretty much all of the amazing things that I do with OneNote on a daily basis. So I really do use all of these things. There's nothing I'm doing on this video that I don't actually do on a daily basis in real life. I find it great for annotating pages and so on. Maybe show you some more of that. It really does work well to kind of take all the notes and pictures. You have all sorts of different pen sizes, colors, and highlighters, and it's all like carrying it around with you in your book. And if you have a massive library of ebooks too, then you'd have it all here. It's pretty amazing software, I think. Now, why exactly do you need the Surface Pro? Well, you can write legibly. You can even write legibly on these sticky notes. And you saw how good the handwriting quality was on the on Microsoft OneNote. Let me show you an example of handwriting quality from my older Pen and Touch Wacom tablet. So here's something that I made, not on this device, but on another computer with a separate Wacom Pen and Touch. It's a little bit older, but it's the same kind of technology tablet. As you can see, these things were bigger, it was much harder to use, and the handwriting quality was substantially worse. So it's really a tremendous improvement in terms of handwriting quality in that sense. Another thing is this is light and it's portable. And I mean I have a small like Kensington carrying case. All I have to do is unplug this device, slap the pen on there, stick it in the carrying case, zip up, and I'm ready to go. I don't need a backpack, books, notebooks, or anything. It's all contained in this device. I can't imagine going back without it. It's lightning fast. Again, if it seems at all slow on the recording, it's because of the recording software. It's perfectly smooth and fast for me. You can write on the screen. That's one of the things I love about it. It's like writing on paper. You know, it's like writing on actual paper. You put the pen on the thing you're writing on and it writes on it. That old Pen and Touch from Wacom that I talked about is something separate. It's connected to a computer, a desktop, or a laptop via USB, and you have to kind of write off screen while staring at the screen. There's a bizarre disconnect there, and the ergonomics of it is very awkward. But here it just feels like you're writing on paper. It has really all of the benefits of paper, and the only downfall I can think of, the only thing I prefer paper for, is the battery life. Here, I will admit that it does have about a 5-hour battery life the way that I use this device. So I can get 5 hours of actual screen time on it. And I find that for most days, I don't usually use even half of that, honestly. I go to class, I write notes, even when I'm taking personal notes or making videos. I get home and there's usually half the battery life left. At that point, I can plug it in. I don't even bother taking the plug with me. Although I will admit that if yesterday, for example, there was a talk that I had to go to unexpectedly, and my battery ran very low, so I wasn't able to use it for that talk. But that's why I keep an emergency pen with me at all times and things like that. And if I had planned ahead and knew I was going to that talk, I could have easily slipped the adapter in my carrying case, and I wouldn't have had a problem. I would have been able to charge it. So at 5 hours of battery life, and that's 5 hours of actually having the screen on, reading, doing maybe basic web browsing, and actually writing and erasing and doing all of that. 5 hours of that is something that I usually get without a problem on this device, and that's more than I need. As for the Windows apps, well, I didn't mean to talk too much about it, but they have some nice apps. I'm not really an app junkie. I just use whatever apps I need, kind of the basic stuff. So the calendar app is very nice. It's very similar to on Android. The mail app is very nice. It's like a highly stripped down version of Outlook, but it's free and it organizes multiple email addresses. It's very nice. The news app is very nice, from Bing, Maps, and weather, or all the rest. So these are nice apps. I'd show you them, but I don't have internet connection, like I said. So I find that the Windows apps are usually enough. And if they're not enough, you need Android apps. There's, I believe, BlueStacks and iPadia for iPad, and I think BlueStacks has a new version that's specifically suited to the Microsoft Surface Pro 2. So those are emulators that can give you Android and iPad apps even on this device. Other complaints about this device aside from battery life: is it heavy? Is it thick? The thickness is very small. Maybe if you've already been spoiled by an iPad or something that thin, then it's going to seem thicker. And again, it's not very heavy. You're not going to be hurting your hand at all. You can hold it in one hand for a certain amount of time, and if you hold it in portrait mode reading, it's going to be a little bit better. But it is heavier than a traditional tablet would be. So I think that's all I wanted to say. Again, the primary advantage to this device is that you're actually writing on the screen, and the handwriting is amazing. There are very few devices on the market that can say that, and all of the ones that can are of a similar price to the Surface Pro. So if you're a mathematician, certainly, a student, graduate students especially, a teacher, or really anybody else who uses the pen extensively, you might love the Surface Pro, you should definitely give it a shot. It is expensive, but if you're going out and buying a laptop anyway because you need a new laptop, this is a fully functional laptop as well, so it can be your laptop and it can be everything else with you if you just get that Microsoft OneNote.